Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, as we learn from St. Augustine, Doctor of the Church, while we read his book, Confessions. Hello, my fellow pilgrims, welcome. St. Augustine's grief is overwhelming him, and he is going to move from Thagaste to escape the pain of losing his friend. We will hear about this in Book 4, Chapter 7, on page 78. What madness to love a man as something more than human. What folly to grumble at the lot man has to bear. I lived in a fever, convulsed with tears and sighs that allowed me neither rest nor peace of mind. My soul was a burden, bruised and bleeding. It was tired of the man who carried it, but I found no place to set it down to rest. Neither the charm of the countryside nor the sweet scents of a garden could soothe it. It found no peace in song or laughter, none in the company of friends at table or in the pleasures of love, none even in books or poetry. Everything that was not what my friend had been was dull and distasteful. I had heart only for sighs and tears, for in them alone I found some shred of consolation. But if I tried to stem my tears, a heavy load of misery weighed me down. I knew, Lord, that I ought to offer it up to you, for you would heal it. But this I would not do, nor could I, especially as I did not think of you as anything real and substantial. It was not you that I believed in, but some empty figment. The God I worshipped was my own delusion, and if I tried to find in it a place to rest my burden, there was nothing there to uphold it. It only fell and weighed me down once more, so that I was still my own unhappy prisoner, unable to live in such a state, yet powerless to escape from it. Where could my heart find refuge from itself? Where could I go, yet leave myself behind? Was there any place where I should not be a prey to myself? None. But I left my native town, for my eyes were less tempted to look for my friend in a place where they had not grown used to seeing him. So from Thagaste, I went to Carthage. It is clear that St. Augustine has fallen into a depression. All human beings at one time or another have felt depressed. It's a common, universal emotion. There is temporary depression, and then there's chronic depression. Now, I'll probably get in some hot water for saying this, but, well, from my counseling days, I did learn a lot. At present, in 2026, we are the most depressed society known to man. Even with all our willingness to de-taboo talk of depression, our numbers have not dropped or stabilized, but instead have gotten worse and risen. We have been told that the answer to fix depression is taking the stigma off it, which we have, to medicate, which we have, and for people to seek counseling, which they have. Everybody knows somebody who is on medication for depression, and maybe multiple people. Now, I'm not a doctor, just a once-upon-a-time counselor. I recognize the need for treatment, I really do, but I think we've missed the mark on what actually works with depression. What I've noticed is that as we've dropped the stigma of being a quote-unquote depressed person, people are almost competing to be the most depressed person. There is almost a badge of honor that people wear by telling everyone that they are clinically depressed. And when I was counseling, I saw many depressed people, and to be very honest, most of them wanted to stay in that spot. Now, they didn't say that out loud. They didn't say, hey, I just want to stay depressed. But all of their actions showed me that that was the case, and they were completely resistant to do anything that didn't involve medication. I know it sounds crazy, but what I saw was that the diagnosis of depression gave people a free ticket to not take ownership of their lives. Everything was to blame because they had depression, so they didn't feel like they had to take ownership for the way that their lives had turned out. St. Augustine says, quote, I had a heart only for sighs and tears, for in them alone I found some shred of consolation, unquote. There is a twisted comfort in misery, and many people don't want to let go of that. The second thing I noticed was that every depressed person I worked with was on depression medication, and yet they were not better in any way. There are actually studies now that are coming out that show that depression medication actually doesn't work. I don't have the time to go into that all right now, but you can look it up for yourself. So, given the culture's cures, we should be a less depressed society, but we aren't. What gives? Well, about the same time as all the depression advice came out, we also became the most self-focused society ever. Take care of you. Look out for number one. Me time. Focus on you. All this messaging has been swirling around us, telling us to be inward focused. And social media does not help with this at all. This kind of messaging will always lead to depression. We were not created to be self-focused. Sure, take care of yourself. Take time to rest and do things that you enjoy. But the surest way to lift yourself out of depression is to serve others. Think of others. Find ways to make other people's lives better. Also, eat healthy, exercise, and serve, and this includes a family. Our culture is isolated, marriage phobic, kid phobic, and only focused on the self and career. We've stripped away all the ways to serve and instead told people that the only way they matter is through a career. Now, sure, you can serve people through a career, but there has to be more to that outside of the 9 to 5 as well. St. Augustine says, quote, "The God I worshipped was my own delusion, and if I tried to find in it a place to rest my burden, there was nothing there to uphold it. It only fell and weighed me down once more, so that I was still my own unhappy prisoner, unable to live in such a state, yet powerless to escape from it." Unquote. What he's basically saying right there is that he's too wrapped up in himself, in his loss, in his grief, and because he just continues to loop on that, he doesn't feel any relief at all. Now, it's okay to be sad over losing somebody. It's perfectly normal, and it's okay to grieve. It's even okay to be down for a while, for a few days. That's normal. If we were just peppy and perky and happy-go-lucky constantly, I think something was wrong with you. Human beings go through emotions. But to stay in a wallowing state is not healthy. You must stop thinking of yourself, which seems contrary, and look to serve others. That is all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. I'll see you back here soon. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.